Very good morning, students. For this lecturing video session, I am going to solve a problem from the unit 3, which is projections of solids. Let me just read out the question and make you understand what are the details, that means data has been given and what needs to be drawn. A hexagonal pyramid of base side 25 mm and axis 50 mm long, which is resting with one of its edges of the base on HP, and its axis is inclined at 30 degree to HP and parallel to VP. Draw its projections. So the given data, the object, what is the object here? The object is a hexagonal pyramid. Object is a hexagonal pyramid of base side 25 mm. So the S is equal to 25 mm. That is a side. S is nothing but side, right? And axis length. So it could be axis length or axis height or altitude, right? Or axis length, whatever. So the axis height AH is 50 mm, 50 mm, which is resting one of its edges. How it is resting? It is resting with one of its edges on HP. So resting where? It is resting on HP. Resting on HP. How it is resting? Whether with one of its edges or with one of corners? Clearly specify it's one of the edges. So it is resting with one of the edge, and its axis is inclined at 30 degree to HP. Where the axis is inclined? Axis inclination. Axis is inclined to HP. Inclined to HP at 30 degree. Fine. So this is the object. This is the hexagonal pyramid. So the pyramid name is based on the base size, the shape of the base, right? Here you could just count these sides 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Therefore, it is a hexagonal pyramid. If the sides only you have 4 sides, then it could be square pyramid. If the sides are 5, then it could be a pentagonal pyramid. Here the number of sides are 6, therefore it is a hexagonal pyramid. So how it is resting? It's resting one of the edges. So the condition, the edge should come on the right hand side. So these are corners. These are corners. What about this? These are sides or edges. So it is resting with one of its edges. So edge has been kept on the right hand side, and the axis is inclined to HP. It's resting on HP. This is how it is, the final position. That is, axis is inclined to HP. It is making some inclination with HP, right? So what are the assumptions? There would be 2 stages. The initial stage could be simple position, where the axis should be perpendicular to any one of the plane. Here the axis is inclined to HP. This is what? In order to draw the true shape, the axis should be perpendicular to any one of the plane. If I make this inclination to 90 degree, now the axis is perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. When the axis is perpendicular to HP, you could see the true shape on HP. When you look at from the top, I could see the hexagonal shape. The front, I could see the triangular faces, isn't it? So where you have to start the diagram, where you could see the true shape of the object. Now, as far as this case is concerned, when I look at from the top, I could see the hexagonal shape, isn't it? Right. First thing, what I have to do is, I have to draw the XY line, which represents the reference line or ground line. Above reference is VP, below reference line is HP. So there, as I said, there will be 2 stages, isn't it? The first stage, is for symbol position or symbol resting. Symbol position or symbol resting. And the second stage, this is for axis inclination or the final position. Got it? Right. So let me just draw the reference line little bit lower. Reason behind, the true shape would be visible on HP. So the slant height would be above the reference line. Therefore, I just draw here XY. Right. So how it is resting? With one of the edge. Edge should come on the right hand side. So of size 25 mm. Of side 25 mm. So draw a line of 25 mm height. Now take 25 mm as radius in your compass. Keep it at the extreme point and cut an arc. Similarly, keep it at the lower portion and cut an arc. This intersection point is nothing but the center. So now without changing the radius, that is 25 mm, keeping as this center, you draw a full circle. Draw a full circle. Draw a full circle of radius 25 mm. Now, without changing the radius, you just even start cutting an arc on the circle. Cut arc on the circle. Then now, this would be the center. Now, cut an arc. Similarly, keeping at here, cut an arc. Keeping it here, cut an arc. Right. Now, by using the scale, you will have to connect all the edges. So now, the circle should be drawn as much as thin line. Because the object here is a hexagon. Right. So, what I am doing is just making that circle as very light, and the object is a hexagon. Therefore, using the HP or H pencil, just make that hexagon shape as dark. Right? Right. Here, when you just look at from the top, the apex would be visible or the vertex would be visible, isn't it? And the slant edges would be visible. So how that can be captured? This is the center of this pyramid, right? So now from each corner you just draw a line connecting the center. From each corners, right? So all the triangular edges meeting at one point, which is nothing but the apex or vertex. So apex can be denoted as O, and let me just give the naming for each and every corners: A, B, C, D, E, F. Right. So here 6 faces I have given A, B, C, D, E, F. For the apex I have named this as O. Is there any edges or corners are visible? Or there in the object? No. If it is a prism, see the top, that means the bottom base and the top base would be of similar shape and size. Right. When it comes to pyramid, the triangular faces. Right. Only the shape of the object would be is one side and the other side the apex. Right. Now, I have given the naming for all the corners and the apex. What I have to do? I have to project all the edges to the above the line, that is the reference line, in order to draw the front view. Right. So let me just project it. Project vertically upwards. There's a very thin line you should draw. Very thin line. Right. What about the axis height? The axis height is 50 mm. Therefore, take 50 mm from the reference line, cut an arc. Right. Now, this could be O dash. That is the apex. So boundary can be closed, right? So boundary, I am just going to close it. We are drawing the inclined line because these are slant edge. Right. Now look at from here. What are the corners are visible? So this is how it is positioned. When you look at from the front, A, B, C are visible, D, E, F are invisible. So A, B, C can be denoted here. A dash, B dash is visible, C dash is visible. And this line is also visible when you look at from the front. Right? When you look at from the front, this slant edges are visible. 1, 2, 3, which I covered 1, 2, 3. Right? Fine. Now what about D, E, F? D is right behind C, therefore D is invisible, which can be captured within the bracket. E is right behind B, therefore that is invisible, E can be captured within the bracket. And F is right behind A, therefore that can be captured within the bracket. Clear? Right. So now the symbol position or symbol resting has been covered. The top view and front view has been drawn here. What is this? Stage 2. Stage 2 is for the axis inclination or the final position. So the axis is inclined to HP. So this is how the axis is inclined. What I have to do? I have to incline the axis. Where is the axis here? So axis is here. Whereas the edge is also merging in the same line. So this is the axis. Now I need to tilt this axis at 30 degree. How that can be done? So I am going to draw an imaginary line parallel to this axis. Going to draw an imaginary line, right, parallel to axis, and this is making 90 degree to the reference line. By tilting the imaginary line, the axis will also tilt at that particular angle, that is 30 degree, because the imaginary line and the axis line are parallel to each other, isn't it? So by tilting the imaginary line at 30 degree, naturally the axis will also get tilted at 30 degree, isn't it? Now I am going to tilt this imaginary line at 30 degree. Choose any point here. I am just choosing this point and keeping the protector in this manner. Now take 30 degree from the horizontal, 30 degree somewhere here. Extend this line. Right. Now this is 30 degree. This is 30 degree. Right. Now look at the base, which is perpendicular to the imaginary line. Right. So keep your protector in this manner. Choose 90 degree and draw a line. Draw a thin line. So this should be 90 degree. This should be 90 degree. Right. This should be 90 degree. Now measure the distance of the base, that is A to C in your compass. This is nothing but the C1 dash and D1 dash, because this is how it is resting, right? This is how it is resting with C and D. C and D is resting, so C1 dash, D1 dash is resting here. Measuring from C to A in your compass, keeping at C, cut an arc. Cut an arc. Now this point is nothing but A1 dash and F1 dash. Now measure from C to B, cut an arc. This could be B1 dash and E1 dash. Now draw a dark line of the base. Now I need to draw the slanting edges. So measure it from C to O dash in our compass, keeping at C, cut an arc. Similarly from A to O, measure it, keeping at A, cut an arc. Thus intersection point is nothing but O1 dash. Now this line can be erased off. This line, because this was an imaginary line. The reason why I have drawn was to tilt the axis at 30 degree, right? Now connect the C and O and O and A and O and B. This particular object has been tilted at 30 degree. If we extend this, the axis should be drawn long line dot long line, right? Now I can mention this axis of 30 degree inclination to HP. Right? Now what is next? To draw the final top view, for which what I have to do? I have to project all the projectors, take all the projectors from the front view as well as from the top view, right? So let me just draw the projectors, extend this line, extend it. Similarly, from the top view, draw horizontal projectors. Horizontal projectors, A and C will pass on the same line, and similarly F and D. So I got a box over here. So within this box only I am going to get the final top view, right? So now I am going to do the mapping work in order to find the points. The horizontal projectors and vertical projectors would meet at one point, right? So now let me just take O, and similarly you will have to draw the projectors of the apex too, right? Now A, intersection point, you look at it. A and A are intersecting here, right? So this could be A1. B and B are getting intersected here. This could be B1. What about C? C and C are meeting here. So this could be C1. D and D are intersecting here. D1. Point E and E are getting intersected here. This could be E1. F, the horizontal projector and vertical projector are meeting at this point. This could be F1. What about the apex or vertex? Look at O. O and O are meeting here. This could be O1. What is the rule to draw the final top view? First thing is to draw the boundary, right? Here the shape is edges, therefore by using the scale, connect all the edges here, or the visibles, all the boundaries should be closed. Next what? You have to draw the checklist. Write down the checklist. So the base, the bottom base or base, because here as far as pyramid is concerned, only one base, right? So base is A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F and A. So A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, E to F and F to A. This is how it's been connected, right? And what about the slant edges? Slant edges, O to A, O to B, O to C, O to D, O to E and O to F. First, let me just see the base first. When the axis is tilted in this position, I could see, start from A, right? A and B are visible, C and D are invisible, and E and F are visible. 1, 2, 3, 4 corners are visible and 2 are invisible, isn't it? So 4, look at here, A to B is visible, right? And A to F is visible, E to F. 1, 2, 3, 4 corners are visible, and B to C is invisible. So by using dotted line, you connect it. And D to C is invisible, draw dotted line. D to E is invisible, draw dotted lines. So base is over. I'll have to connect the slant edges. O to A, look at O to A. When the object is being kept in this manner, isn't it? So this is A. A to O is visible. A to O is visible, so connect A to O. Connect A to O. And B to O is visible. B to O has already been drawn. C to O, which is invisible, right? When you look at from the top. So C to O is drawn with dotted line. D to O again, it is invisible because that's right behind the point E. So D to O is invisible. What about E to O, which is visible, which is already covered in the boundary? Then what about F to O? F to O is visible. Just draw dark line by connecting E and F. So O to A is drawn, O to B is covered, O to C is covered, O to D is covered, O to E is covered, and O to F is also covered. So let me just give a hint to draw the dotted lines. Look at here. What is the resting edge here? CD is the resting edge. So the corners or the points which are connected to C and D would be invisible. Look at here. C to O is invisible. D to O is invisible. And the C to D is invisible. C to B is invisible. D to E is invisible. Right? Look at here. This is how it is connected. C, D are connected to C to D is connected, and C to B is connected, D to E is connected. Those are dotted lines. So where the corner or edges or resting connected lines should be invisible. That is for your understanding. That is to check the final view, isn't it? So now I have completed the projections. Right. Now what is next? The dimensioning. So draw a perpendicular to the side, and parallel to the side draw the dimension line, and above the dimensioning line you should write it, that is 25. What about the axis height? The axis height is 50 mm. So above the dimensioning line you just write 50 mm. What is next? The notes which you have to mention it here. The right bottom of the drawing you should write all dimensions are in mm. So that dimension what I consider for constructing the projections are in mm, isn't it? So the all dimensions, whatever dimensions considered to complete the drawing, the unit of dimension are in mm or in mm. Then the scale what you consider. Here as such I have not considered any special scaling. Whatever dimension given, same thing I used here. Therefore, that is nothing but the actual dimension. That is the true scale. Scale 1:1. Right. So you will have to read out the question and understand it where to draw the first diagram. That is a true shape. So you will have to assume the simple person. That means the axis should be perpendicular to any one of the plane. Where the axis is inclined, that needs to be kept perpendicular, right, in order to draw the true shape of the drawing. Hope you have all understood this. Thank you.